to welcome you to my YouTube channel, and I wanted to do a little flip through of a fabric journal that I made as part of a collaboration with Tina Walker and Stencil Girl Stencils. Tina had reached out to her followers on social media to see who might be interested in doing a fabric journal made out of numbered stencils from Stencil Girl, and I have been a Stencil Club member for off and on for a very, well, I think is a very long time, and a big fan of their products. And so I jumped on the opportunity to play around with fabric, play along with some of the materials that I have, and just, you know, have fun. So I'll do the cover at the very end after you've seen all the stencils. This first stencil here, I made a little journal with one of the stencils, so I have all my little notes on which stencils are featured. So this first one here is L641 Math Man by Kat Kerr. And what's great about stencils is that you can use a little bit, you can use the whole thing. So for this one, I just use this figure here. And this is pretty much all using linen. For this stencil, I used S980 by Kristen Peterson, and it's called High Impact. So this is the background here, and then I cut a hole, and then I sewed another piece of just commercial fabric in the background. So that's High Impact. This one is called Stitch Sampler L305. And it's this one here by Jamie Fingal. So I just used this strip here. I thought it was a great stencil to use because this reminds me of tape that a seamstress might use. So I put that here and here, and then I sewed a button and some loose threads. So this one with the birds, that's called Flock, and that's S854 by Kat Kerr. And so I just layered some other fabric, some linen fabric, and then I used that little piece there with the stencil. This one is a little ATC stencil by Seth Apter, and it's called ATC Mix Up L664. And I used just this one right here. I think I also used this one here, and maybe this one here. Oh, actually, I used several of these that did not have numbers on them, but it's such a great stencil that I had to use multiple stencils within that one stencil. Next we have, oh no, this one is the this one again is a Kristen Peterson, and I just used a little piece of the fabric that I had left over from the other one, so you'll see this right here is just that little bit right there. And I had been practicing doing French, or I wanted to learn how to do French knots, so I kind of used this as a practice little piece of fabric. I also wanted to try my hand at making these little swirlies, and then also making these little swirly things on a piece of linen. So this is just kind of a little fun practice piece of fabric. This right here is by Carolyn Doobie L591, and it's called Vintage Typewriter Numbers. So you get these much larger numbers and then these much smaller numbers, and I played around with the larger numbers, and I selected just the O. And then the background stencil is actually this little stencil, and this I just used Distress Oxide spray through the stencil. Everything else I think is acrylic paint. This is the only one I tried with the spray. I just love how grungy it looked on the fabric. And this one is SA1000 by Nicole Watson. And it has some numbers that are right side up, some numbers that are flipped. Super fun little stencil. And then here on the back, I have this stencil by Jennifer Evans, S821, called Vintage Ledger Numbers. So I used that as a background, and then I just sewed a piece of black fabric on it and did some stitching. And then for the cover, for the inside cover, I just used one piece of linen. But on the cover, I used a bunch of little scraps from the different, from my leftovers. So you'll see every little stencil is represented here. I think I do love this little piece right here with the rusty safety pin. And then for the button, I had to, of course, use a Tina Walker stencil. So I use this stencil, which is actually a Stencil Club stencil, meaning that if you are a member of the Stencil Club, you get a stencil or a set of stencils every month. You also get a discount on other purchases. And those are only for Stencil Club members. You can get previous Stencil Club stencils once you become a member. So I got this when I am a Stencil Club member now, but back in February of 03, I got this one from Tina Walker, and I used this little Rolodex card. These are all little Rolodex shapes. So I used this one, and then I put it on fabric, and I made a little fabric button. So that's my little fabric stencil journal. Excuse me. Super fun to make, and I will definitely be playing some more with fabric and stencils. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.